Well, as y'all can see, we're at my favorite knife company's booth, Tops Knives. So, you got anything new to show anybody? Anything exciting coming up? Or I mean, what you got going on here?
So here at the Preppercon, we didn't bring a lot of the new stuff. We debuted at SHOT Show 22 models, I think is what it was. It was a lot. And we've spent the first 4 months building them, making them, and so we're about ready to start. One of the ones that we're going to release soon is it's called El Chete, which is Spanish for the Chete. It's a big chopper. It looks like a competition type chopper. You know, you'd see in blade sports and things like that. Really cool knife, heavy. It's gonna just demolish whatever people take it to. That's gonna be out in about 2 weeks. We've got a nice Kydex sheath on that with either a spring steel clip or a leather dangler. Really cool knife. Apart from that, one of the newest ones we have out, actually, that we do have right here, is the Ice Dagger. This is one by Andy Tran, who also designed the Tahoma Field Knife. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that one or not. It was a survival knife, kind of like a one-tool option type thing, 7-inch blade. It had all sorts of bells and whistles for guys that are going to be on the woods or your preppers, your survivalists in particular. And in the last couple of years, he's actually gone through a lot of law enforcement training. He went through law enforcement training with the Forest Service, and now he's either working for a sheriff's office or is in the process of starting work for a sheriff's office, and needed a blade that he could put on his belt. If you guys know cops, or if you are a cop yourself, you know your belt does not have a lot of real estate. You got handcuffs, you got tasers, you got your gun, you got your magazines, you got all sorts of stuff on your belt, and there's just no room for a knife. So this one was designed with a very flat sheath, with a very flat knife to sit behind a mag pouch.
Okay.
So the straps on this, they're flexible, so they can get around whatever you need them to, and they'll fit behind the belt and then loop around and snap together. They're also directional snaps, so if you put sideways pressure on them, they're not going to come undone. It's only the one way.
Very cool.
Right? So, very cool knife. It is double-edged, so make sure that's legal in your state. But cool knife. It's got a lot of. It's quick. It's 1/8 inch thick. It's really thin and really light. But the blade on this is probably the coolest part. You got 2 grinds. So you got a really sharp grind on the flats, and you got a kind of a shorter, wider grind here up at the tip. So you get a really strong tip with a really sharp blade. And so
when I see this as kind of bringing tactical to Tops, you know, you guys are generally known more for bushcraft type knives.
You know, the first maybe 7 or 8 years, most of our stuff was tactical. We started, the first knives were made for dudes in the military, and then the second knives were made for cops.
Right.
But in the last, probably the last 7 or 8 years, Leo Espinosa, who's the president now, at the time he had started designing, and most of his designs were outdoors and hunting and survival, and he's just such a good designer that his designs stand out really well. So that's we were small, and as we started getting his designs and some of the other guys that we've worked with, we've grown really fast in the last 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
And most of it's been in the survival and
well, like the Brothers of Bushcraft's probably your
that is our number one
selling knife. Your Time Bound Tracker is probably the most well-known knife, right?
That's our number 2.
Yeah, there you go, right? And then you've got
the
Cub that we featured in December. You got the Scandi Trekker. You know, a bunch of these knives, man. They're all great.
So let me ask you this.
Yes.
On this table, I know you sold a lot. On this table, what's your favorite knife?
Oh, shoot. I hate this question.
What's your favorite
I
knife?
hate this question. I have so many
There
knives.
it is.
I get to play with pretty much everything, so it's like I like this and I like that, and it depends on what I'm doing. I carry one of the mini Scandis pretty much everywhere I go.
And I like that one.
I love this knife. It's like the perfect size. I can hide it in my shirt. If I don't want to wear it around my neck, I just throw it in my pocket. It's about a 3-inch blade, so you can cut 90% of what you're going to cut, this will do the job.
It's a great steak knife.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, and
yeah.
you pull this out in a restaurant, even in a big city, and people aren't like, you don't get that reaction like, what's he doing? It's, you know, like, so it's just, this is probably one of my favorites. I really love this knife. Bigger knives on there.
Yeah, on the larger scale.
This thing is interesting.
Yes.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
Let's do that. Okay, so the Trekker Digger. One of the things, people that follow Tops know we have a ton of models. We have over 250 active models in our catalog. If you look at our website and just click on knives, you're gonna get like 270 something hits. Okay, so we make a knife for just about everybody. Some knives are not for everybody. All right, there are some of the fighting knives that we make, like there's some knives that Colin Despens has designed, in particular like the Backbite or the HKT. They're just straight up fighting knives. They're brutal.
I would say probably the tack raise being a friction folder is probably not your number one seller, but it's cool.
Right?
Yeah.
And so what I'm getting at is that some knives fit a use for some people that they don't fit for everybody. So if I'm going out in the woods, I am not going to take a Backbite with me. If I'm going into the urban jungle and I think I'm going to be in a shady area, the Backbite might be the right choice. So the Trekker Digger is one of those unique knives that some people look at and they're like, that is ugly, I would never use that, what am I going to do with this? And it's like, you know what? This is probably not for you if that's what you thought. But for the people that are looking at that thinking, man, that's unique, that looks really cool, I can see some uses for this, get it, it's cool. It's a 1/4 inch thick, so it's heavy. It will do chopping. It will do. I mean, it's a knife. It's got edges, so it will cut things. It'll cut just about whatever you want. But it's shaped like a spade, and we kind of wanted to challenge that never put your knife in the dirt thing that your grandpa always told you. You know, like don't do that. You're gonna ruin my knife. It's like,
Dig in the dirt.
do it. Like, give it a shot. You know, there's some cultures out there that use a lot of double-edged knives for different things. They'll have one edge that they use for stuff that they know it's just going to destroy their edge. You know, it's gonna chip it, it's gonna dull it, it's gonna roll it, and they'll use the one side for that, and they'll keep the other side sharp for things like cutting wood, cutting rope, cutting stuff that they need to be able to have a fine cut on.
Right.
And so there's possibility with this. So don't just look at it and say, no, I'm not going to put that in the dirt. Just put one side of it in the dirt. You know,
Right.
Keep the other side clean.
Right.
When we
Very
designed
unique.
this, I actually took one. I've played around with it in the woods a little bit, but I actually used it more in my backyard.
Really?
Yeah, I'm taking part of my backyard and trying to turn it into a garden. There's a big stump that I had to grind out, and now as I'm digging around, I'm catching all these roots, and so I'm digging around them with my shovel. And once I get enough of the root exposed, I'm just going to town with this, digging it out, and then I keep going.
Yeah.
And one side of it's dull, and one side of it's not.
Right.
And it's actually been really cool.
Well, and here's the thing. I mean, there's plenty of knives out there and plenty of knife manufacturers out there where you can buy nice, pretty knives to keep in a cabinet, keep on your mantle, hand down to
Safe
your
queen.
kids and things like that. And then there's the working knife. And I mean, that's what me and Daniel gave me Brothers of Bushcraft for Christmas, okay? Like, I babied it for 2 weeks. Like, I was like, oh, I love it, you know, I'm not going to mess it up. And we were out at the farm working, and I had it with me. And I didn't want to use it. He's like, use it, man, you know, like, and I was like, you know what, he's right, you know, this thing's built to work. So I've been using it ever since. But I mean, that's one thing I like about y'all's brand is
They're built to last.
It's awesome knives. There's lots of variety. They look great, but you can use them. You can
pick out
beat them up. You can use them. You can run them through the ringer and use it for what it's for. Because I mean, ultimately, that's what it's for, right?
You can pick out a top knife first glance.
Oh,
Just,
yeah.
without even knowing that it's top.
there's a style.
So,
Yeah, there's certainly a uniqueness to them.
So definitely a great thing. So if you're interested in checking out Tops Knives, if you never heard of them before, congratulations. Now you know where to get knives. But you can check those guys out at their website. They got a plethora of knives. I'm sure there's one that's going to fit your budget and fit the need that you want. So where can they find you at, man?
Yeah, so you can find us on the web at topsknives.com. We have a Facebook page, it's Tops Knives Official. Our Instagram page is Tops Knives. Twitter page is Tops Knives. I think we're more active on Facebook and Instagram. So if you really want to see new stuff and lots of content, that's where you're going to want to find us.
Cool, man. Thank you. Appreciate it, man. Always do.
Always.
Thank you. As always, I appreciate you guys watching. Be sure to hit the subscribe button by clicking on my ugly mug right there. Yep, that circle right there with my face in it. Click on that. That's the subscribe button. Comment down below. Hit the like button. And don't forget to check out Man Stuff Podcast on iTunes. I'll put a link down below. And check out these videos. See you soon.